No way. No way. No way. It's finally here. Let's check out the Pro 3 by 8BitDo. Welcome to A Game From a Box. This is Sergio AM, and in the box you get the manual, a USB-A to USB-C cable, the dock, and in it we have our 2.4 gigahertz adapter, and on the cover we have a magnetic plate with an extra pair of magnetic buttons and an adorably tiny magnetic suction cup. Then we have two balls, two ball top caps, and the Pro 3. 8BitDo's Pro line is a sort of evolution from their SN30 Super Nintendo-inspired controllers, but with more features, including one of my favorite pair of grips. It's available in 3 colorways: the G Classic, which is Game Boy inspired, a PlayStation-looking gray, and this GameCube-ish purple. Each also comes with matching ball top caps and an extra set of Famicom-colored buttons. Now, before we continue, when making videos, I take a lot of notes, but it's a pain to organize them all, and that's where our sponsor comes in. This is the TicNote by Mobvoi, and with it, you can record, transcribe, and organize all your notes. It's about the size of a credit card and almost as thin at just 0.12 inches, and it only weighs 29 grams. It has an aluminum body with this wavy design, and up top we have the mode switch, display, and power button. To protect it, it comes in this thin case with cutouts for all the essentials, and it's magnetic, which makes it MagSafe compatible. Inside, it has 3 tiny MEMS microphones, along with a 470 milliamp battery that can last over 25 hours. It has 64 gigs of space that can store a total of 434 hours of recordings, and they've even crammed a haptic motor in there. It connects to your phone via Bluetooth, and to use it, you'll need their TicNote app. Once you set it up, you can use it in 2 modes. The first lets you record calls when it's attached to your phone, and the second lets you use it like a normal recorder that you can start and stop with a single button. I've been using it to record notes as I unbox products, and once I'm done, it'll transfer it to the app where I can access the recording. But it then goes much further with their Shadow AI. With it, I can take the audio and transcribe it, and then instead of editing it down myself, it can actually help me reduce it to give me a clean summary, which works really well and saves so much time. On top of that, it can also lay out the info as a structured mind map. It can do some deep research into the topic. It can also translate it in over 100 languages, and it even works live while you're recording. And there's much more, including just being able to chat with it. So if you like the idea of a super-powered note-taking sidekick, you gotta check out the TicNote. I'll have links in the description below, and remember that supporting them helps support us. In hand, the experience is already awesome. I absolutely love the shape of it, the weight is perfect, and all the buttons and inputs feel incredible, very premium. The grips have this very aggressive curve that fits really well in hand, and they're just the right size as well. On the back of them, actually throughout the entire back of the controller, we have a micro texture, which is very minimal, but works well. They're still plastic, not rubber, which I appreciate, just means they're gonna last much longer. Down the center, we have the classic rubbery select and start buttons that also act as minus and plus. Next, on the Switch, this start button acts as capture, the heart button as home, and it has an LED around it to confirm mapped inputs or turbo mode. And down the middle, we have the profile button with LEDs above. Underneath, we have our player LEDs. Up top, we have the USB-C port to charge it, along with the pairing button. And you'll notice these slots underneath and above, which means this most likely is compatible with their phone clips. The face buttons are flat, but very springy, with a good amount of tactile feedback. I believe they're membrane, but they almost feel mechanical, and they are a tad bit loud. Another small detail, the letters on here seem to be injection molded into the plastic instead of printed on top, which means you won't have to worry about them wearing off over time. The tops are also magnetic, and that force is strong enough to keep them in place with normal use, possibly even through a drop, but with enough force off the side, you can take them off with your fingers. It's just much easier with their magnetic little plunger. You just place it on top, push it in, and lift. Now, to keep them correctly oriented, we have this divot at the top, which helps you align them when dropping them in. So you can either replace them with the extra pair of Super Famicom colored buttons, or swap the face buttons around to correspond with your specific platform, which is actually pretty useful. The D-pad is clicky, which gives you that tactile feedback so you can really feel when each input is registered. And this mechanical style also helps you avoid accidental diagonal inputs, especially when you need to spam a specific direction. The size, height, and curve are just right. It has a sturdy amount of resistance, along with a soft texture to help keep your thumb from sliding around too fast. I also really like the pivot on here. It really enhances that rocking motion that makes it easy to roll between complex inputs. So far, it's been great. It's so fun to use, which is why it's become a personal favorite. The sticks are in an asymmetrical layout, which I prefer, and they're positioned just right. The caps curve upward with a textured edge, which gives you a decent amount of grip. On them, we have wear-resistant metal rings, and they have a medium level of resistance, but with very smooth action, and they reset pretty quickly. They also require just the right amount of strength to click in without affecting your movement, which I really like. Now, when testing, there was a minimal amount of snapback, but it doesn't seem to show or register in-game. And right out of the box, it has one of the smallest dead zones I've tested in a while. As for tech, they use TMR sticks, which means you don't have to worry about drift, but that, along with the 12-bit ADC sampling chip inside, helps make it very accurate and easy to control. Now, with a bit of force, you can take off the stick tops, which are connected with these clips that gives them a secure fit. And now, you can swap them out for those arcade-style ball top caps. The yellow really adds a lot to this GameCube colorway, and although you might think they're just a gimmick, well, you're not wrong. But if you've ever used tall thumb grips, you know that the additional height actually gives you more leverage and finer control. The problem is that they're probably a bit too high, they're pretty slippery, and they're also a bit trickier to click in. Either way, they're still usable, and it's just fun to play using something so different, even though they are a bit awkward. Clearly, these aren't the most convenient. I mean, they even state that they're just for fun, and I agree. But I'd love for them to take advantage of this feature and sell some other, more useful stick tops in the future. Up top, the shoulder buttons are a little bit thinner, they curve out, and they work well all throughout the button. They have really good feedback and feel very similar to the face buttons. The triggers are medium-sized with a nice curve, and they're analog, although they function as digital triggers on the Switch since it doesn't support analog input. This time, they got the same treatment as the Ultimate 2 controller, and each has a switch so you can choose between either linear Hall effect triggers with the full medium travel distance, or non-linear with clicky tactile triggers. It's such an awesome option to have. And we also have new tiny L4 and R4 remappable buttons. They're right next to the shoulder buttons, so you'll need to reach a bit to press them, but that keeps them out of the way. They're mechanical with a satisfying click and a very short travel distance, which makes them really easy to spam. On the back, we have those contact pins to charge it on the dock. And right below it, we have the mode switch so you can jump between platforms on the fly. Then we have the large flat buttons, PR and PL, which are nicely sized. They curve around the grips, which also means they curve around your finger. And in use, they're very tactile, clicky, with an ultra-low travel distance. They're one of the most satisfying back buttons I've used. Very easy to spam as well. All right, let's talk features. As expected with 8BitDo, it's multi-platform compatible, so you can jump from the Switch to the Steam Deck or even Apple devices. But here, I'll be focusing on the Switch experience. It's wireless through either Bluetooth or 2.4 GHz via the adapter, but you can also use it wired to reduce that input lag. And depending on the connection type, the polling rates go from 60 Hz up to a max of 250 Hz, which is pretty typical these days. As for battery life, in it we have a 1000 milliamp battery that gives us roughly 20 hours of gameplay. Pretty good, but sadly, they got rid of one of my favorite features from this line, that being the battery compartment. The previous versions made it accessible, so if the battery ever died, failed, or stopped holding a charge, you could simply remove it and pop in two AA's. A simple but useful and future-proof feature that I really liked. So instead, that's been swapped out for the charging pins to use with the dock. Speaking of which, the dock is the cherry on top.
Or I guess below, or whatever.
Up top, we have the charging pins that correspond with those on the controller. And thanks to this molded shape on the inside, the controller just drops in with a perfect fit every single time. Underneath, we have this very wide rubber ring to keep it in place. And over on the back, we have the USB-C port to power it, but it also acts as a pass-through port for the 2.4 gigahertz adapter on the inside. So this way you can connect it to your PC and it'll connect wirelessly to it via that dongle. And under the front, we have this long LED bar, which lights up white when it's charging. Really convenient. And as I said with the Ultimate 2, it sort of boggles the mind that they just include this with the controller. We also have expected features such as a powerful rumble, quick and accurate motion controls, but then we have shake to wake, but sadly, it only works for the Switch 1 and not 2. The 4 extra buttons can be remapped through their Ultimate 2 software or on the fly by holding the one you want to map, then the button you want to map it to, followed by pressing the start button. If done correctly, the home button will blink when it's in use. Very simple, but because the start button also acts as a capture button, you're going to end up with a lot of random screenshots. Now, although the start button can be used for remapping buttons, on the Switch, it doesn't work for Turbo. I've seen this before with some of their other controllers, so if you want Turbo, you're going to need to remap it on their software V2. And currently, you can only map it to the start button. But because it's now not the start button, you can't use the remapping feature. So you're going to have to map your buttons through the software beforehand. Another workaround is to have one profile with it set as the start button and another profile for Turbo. Either way, this is a bummer. It's confusing and difficult to deal with. It'd be much better to just add an extra button and keep the start button dedicated to those features. On the Switch, the Pro 3 actually shows up as a Pro controller, and although the layout is different, you can remap the available inputs, but if you want to get the most out of it, you'll need their Ultimate Software V2. I could spend an entire video going through it, but I'll keep it simple. On here, you can update the firmware, change the button mapping of just about every input except for the home button. They also have a basic macro recorder that lets you create and then assign them to a button. You can tweak and adjust the analog stick dead zones, invert their X and Y axis, and even swap them. For the triggers, you can adjust the range at which they actuate and also swap them. You can also change the strength of each rumble motor. And finally, you can save all those settings to a specific profile and assign up to 3 to the profile button. I like to have one for the Switch, Steam Deck, and Android so I can have everything I need when swapping between platforms. So that's the Pro 3. It has one of the most unique yet nostalgic designs. It's really well made. Everything's very high quality. It has a lot of features along with some fun extras. It's great for everything from retro games to the latest AAA titles, and it's perfect for those juggling multiple platforms, which is why I love third-party controllers. But of course, it's not without its flaws either. So those are my thoughts, but I'd love to hear yours down in the comments. Let's talk. Also, if you're looking to pick one up for yourself and want to support us at the same time, because these do take a lot of time to make, please check out the affiliate links in the description below and follow us on any of our channels where we post the best deals we come across. Oh, and in case you missed it, we're also giving away a Nintendo Switch 2, so if you want a chance at it, check out our first Switch 2 hauled episode for all the details. Once again, this is Sergio AM. Thanks for liking and subscribing, and I'll see you for the next box. If you like this video and want to help us out, click that thumbs up button and leave a comment below so we can talk. Now, if you want to go further, subscribe and ding the bell to stay notified whenever we post a new video. You made it to the end, and I just want you to know that you are the reason we do what we do. This is Sergio AM, and I'll see you for the next box.